Our tale is narrated through Miguel, a boy from the Mexican Foundation who tells us about a musician who left his own family to become a notable artist. With this, his mother placed aside the whole thing that needed to do with music and dedicated herself to worrying for her daughter and maintaining her shoes. That's the way it went from technology to generation, turning into the family business. That girl was his remarkable, extraordinary grandmother, Imelda, to whom they prayed on the Day of the Lifeless, and her daughter, splendid grandmother Coco, became the pillar of the family, whom Miguel loved a very awful lot. And her grandmother, her daughter, was the standard vintage female who became capable of throwing a turnflop. The reality is that she became the boss, she directed everything, and she also hated tune, something that Miguel no longer loved, considering that track turned into something vital for him, simply as his annoying zoo became a fan. By using Ernesto de la Cruz, one of the outstanding musicians of all of Mexico, had outstanding success with iconic songs and films. Unluckily, while giving a show, a massive bell became overhead in 1942. Miguel dreamed of being like him and went to his grave because he felt a connection, but he became discouraged considering he could not play track. So a mariachi informed him to confront his circle of relatives and stay his second. He gave him his guitar, and whilst he turned into about to play, the grandmother arrived, placing the turn in his workshop. Miguel told them that he was going to see the skills show on the Day of the Dead and that he wanted to take part, but his grandmother informed him no, since it changed into a totally special day for the family. It was the night whilst the ancestors visited them. If they were no longer placed and provided with photos and food, they would not be capable of the cross. Then Dante takes us to Miguel's mystery hiding vicinity, wherein he had a vintage guitar with which he may want to play without being visible. He even had a splendid imparting for Ernesto de Los Angeles Cruz that stimulated him to play, experience the melody, and consequently play together with his heart. So Miguel decided to play on the night show, to live inside the moment. So he took his guitar and tried to escape. Nevertheless, his dads and grandma cornered him and said he was now going to be a shoemaker, which no longer inspired him. Then Dante ate a plate of the offering and threw away the picture of his tremendous, extremely good grandmother, realizing that his exceptional, remarkable grandfather became a musician, Ernesto de la Cruz. But his excitement introduced him to problems. His grandmother took out all his matters and scolded him for this. Miguel defended his ardor, however his grandmother was annoyed. So Miguel instructed him that he didn't care approximately all that about the Day of the Dead. So the grandmother exploded, much like the guitar, breaking the boy's heart like that, who ran away with the image and went immediately to the square where the show was going to be. He looked for a guitar, but nobody wanted to lend it to him. So he decided to take his fantastic, splendid grandfather's guitar. He visited the cemetery where there has been a huge imparting for the go. The reality is that Miguel entered his grave as his guitar asked for forgiveness for that, and whilst he touched it, something magical came about. Human beings have been looking for the thief of the guitar, but nobody wants to see Miguel. He appeared like a spirit, nor did he want his own family to see him besides the dead, making him crazy when he noticed a lot of spirits. The various dwelling, I may want to agree with the coolest thing about this, turned into that Dante may want to see him as well as his deceased spouse and children, who did now not recognize why he became one half alive and useless, while unexpectedly they found out that Mama Imelda did now not make it across, on account that her picture was no longer at the altar. So they needed to remedy this. They took Miguel through the bridge between lifestyles and death, which became manufactured from marigold petals. The world of the dead changed into magical, complete of alabridges of all colorings. There had been even customs to move if they had to. Photos within the supply could happen, however. Not this came about to a skeleton, that because he had no family attempted to cross, however he could not make it. They took Miguel appropriately to peer what they did with him. Then they delivered us to Mom Imelda, a quite tough lady. The case is that the manager advised them that they were bewitched, because Miguel stole an object from a dead man or woman, and because he had the photo of Mother Imelda, he couldn't move. So the skeleton informed Miguel that handiest a family member may want to go back alive with a blessing before sunrise, otherwise he might grow to be a useless person. Mom Imelda took a marigold petal and gave him her blessing with the situation of in no way playing music once more. So Miguel again to the sector alive, but on account that he did now not keep his promise, he lowers back to the world of the dead. They died instantly. No one wanted to offer him their blessing, so Miguel went to look for another relative. Ernesto de la Cruz ran and ran, hiding inside the police workplace wherein the homeless man who attempted to pass the bridge turned. He advised the policeman that Ernesto de la Cruz turned into his friend. Upon hearing this, Miguel searched for him and asked for his assist. Then Mom Imelda requested her non-secular manual to look for Miguel, who become being made up by using Hector to seem like a corpse. The factor is that she informed him that she could help him find him. Ernesto de la Cruz did place his image in an imparting, so that they went through all the streets, two in which de la Cruz became rehearsing, for that they had to see an acquaintance of Hector, in which Diego Ribera and the mere Frida Kahlo appeared, who become enchanted via Dante. Then Miguel helped her together with her display, wherein Ernesto de la Cruz might appear, so the boy requested him, approximately. Frida informed him in which he turned into, but to go into his mansion, he should simplest do so with the aid of winning the expertise display. Meanwhile, his family stored, seeking out him. But the negative guy slowly turned into a skeleton Hector. He took him to an area where they might get a guitar, to the location of the forgotten, people who had no own family. The fact is that they went with a pal to lend them his guitar, but the poor guy declined considering that no person remembered him due to what Hector played for him. With the tune, whilst paying attention to it, the old corpse dwindled in its very last loss of life. Already inside the center of the city, Hector told Miguel that he had to consume this, that he taught him to be a musician. Then, on the display, several musicians of a wide variety exceeded via. Miguel became very anxious, seeing that he had by no means played in public. So Hector advised him to visit the skeleton, and that they shouted loudly to release the attention already on degree. Miguel almost failed to play, however, he managed to do it with a fantastic voice and a catchy rhythm with this the humans. I used to be very satisfied. But his own family had arrived, so Hector found out that Miguel had greater household, and that it only made him waste his time. However, Cruz he ran and ran, but Mother Imelda discovered him, so Miguel informed her to prevent ruining her life. While she heard that, Imelda started out singing and instructed her that she used to like music, but that her husband killed that passion. So Miguel told her that it was her life to aid him, that she did that in the own family, and then he left on the birthday celebration by means of Ernesto de la Cruz. The guests reached the saint, and in view that Miguel could not get in, he requested the musicians to assist him, and so when he arrived on the mansion, he climbed to the best factor in which there's been a whole pachanga with a. He performed the guitar to get every person's attention, and his very own, alas, fell into the water. So Ernesto jumped for it, then Miguel. He informed the whole lot that was his outstanding, exquisite grandfather, and that he wished his blessing, and with fantastic satisfaction, he said sure. He even bragged approximately it with the excellent ones. Infante Negrete, even Cantinflas, was having a terrific time. He couldn't agree with that he had spent his whole lifestyles admiring him while he becomes so near him, and the way Miguel needed to go back to the alternative side. Ernesto tried to offer him his blessing when abruptly Hector arrived. Ernesto instructed him that he took all of his songs, taking all the credit score, leaving him in oblivion when he informed him this. Hector told Miguel how he died. He had been on excursion for months. So Ernesto informed him that as a minimum he might toast his friendship. He gave him a shot of tequila. To stay after this, Miguel not relied on Ernesto a lot, who stole Hector's image and refused to give Miguel his blessing, throwing him into the water, half lifeless. Miguel turned into finished, while Hector liked him and consoled him. However, the negative man changed into dropping strength due to the fact that they were forgetting him, his daughter, his simplest relative. But the terrible issue changed into forgetting him. It was the best cause she wanted to pass. His call turned into Coco. Upon hearing this, Miguel confirmed the picture, knowing that he became his remarkable high-quality grandfather, not Ernesto. La Cruz. Hector advised him that he wrote a song for his daughter. Recall Me, a beautiful melody that defined the emotions of a father who was leaving, and that he would no longer neglect him. Whilst he knew this, he became full of energy. Whilst all of a sudden Dante arrived after Mother Imelda, upon seeing Hector, turned into not so happy. Dante became an Alabrige Miguel's spiritual manual location, and that they did get the picture. But sadly, Imelda went on a level. She became greatly surprised, however. Then she started out making a song, Los Angeles de L.A. Llorona, and together with Hector's guitar, they made a perfect duet. All and sundry became delighted. They made pretty a show, so Ernesto couldn't be left in the back of, stealing the show. This revived memories among Imelda and Hector. Then they were going to supply Miguel the blessing, whilst unexpectedly Ernesto arrived, grabbed the child, and started to say that the sector could not understand this because it was going to smash his popularity. The coolest element about that is that the ants recorded it, and anybody heard it, and Miguel unmasked him, announcing that he changed into a fake thief. But when he stated that Ernesto threw him off the cliff, however, Imelda's Alabrige saved him, and Aitor's photo was lost. Meanwhile, the people had been booing Ernesto de Los Angeles Cruz and Pilon. The spirit cornered him and threw him instantly into a massive bell accident. I do not agree with it. Sadly, Hector was forgotten, and Miguel turned into demise. So they dispatched him unconditionally to the health facility. International of residing already in Miguel, ran home instantly to Mom's bedroom. Cock spoke about his dad. Hector advised him that he loved him and that he was no longer going to neglect him. But Mom Coco became losing her memory. So Miguel took the guitar and informed her. He sang like his father used to do, and upon listening to it, Mama Coco reacted and started singing. This helped him improve his memory. He opened a drawer and took out an image of his father, the piece that they'd cut off sometime later. Does anybody forget Ernesto de Los Angeles Cruz? As an alternative, the exceptional one, composer Hector Ribera, each person remembered him. And so Miguel started to comprehend the Day of the Dead, which Hector may want to in the end pass. After such a lot of years, he was reunited with his daughter, and eventually had a own family, which was united way to the reminiscence of Mama Coco.